and gentlemen, welcome to MSU Soccer Park and tonight's USL match. Please raise your scarves and welcome your defending USL champions, New York Red Bulls 2, to the pitch for tonight's match.
A rainy MSU Soccer Park here on a Friday evening. Perfect night for soccer as this USL matchup between New York Red Bulls 2, currently in 4th place in the Eastern Conference, hosting their closest rival, Bethlehem Steel FC, sitting in 6th place in the Eastern Conference. David Goss and Christian Dyer alongside you as the players are out and ready to go for this one. The first matchup of 2 in the coming 2 weeks between these two teams, and the leading man for this Bethlehem Steel team, Sekou Kone, with 7 goals already.
Kone, such a phenomenal player, tremendous off-the-ball movement and positioning.
And on the flip side for the New York Red Bulls too, Arun Basulovic has led the team in minutes played as well as the league in passes completed.
The only player on Red Bulls 2 to play every single minute so far this year, made the bench for the Red Bulls in the U.S. Open Cup against New York City FC on Wednesday.
And this Bethlehem Steel team, Coach Burke said, in 48 games played all time, they've only started the same lineup twice. It's not the exact same lineup, but a lot of stability for this team now along that back.
An awful lot of stability for a team that is 0-3 lifetime against Red Bulls 2 and is yet to score in this series.
And for Red Bulls 2, a lot of stability as well. The exact same roster as last Sunday, but some changes up top with Douglas Martinez and Junior Fleming.
Yeah, a lot of interchange there in terms of the attacking options. You'll be seeing players like Velo and Flemings flip-flopping sides throughout the match.
It should be a good one between these two teams. As you said, New York 3-0 against them last year, but this New York team, 26 goals conceded this year. They only conceded 21 goals the entire regular season last year, so it's going to be a fun one here at MSU Soccer Park. We'll be right back with all your first half action.
We've raised the stakes. Expectations are high. Our biggest season yet will break records with elite players and future stars, innovative technology, and new homes. We're growing the game in our communities and across the nation. Are you ready?
Ready to go. Big time atmosphere here at Red Bull Arena. What a shot saved by Robles. Bradley right for it. Has scored. The ultimate scoring machine. And New York is on fire. Hashtag New York is red. And who would argue with them?
New York Red Bulls 2 at 5-6-2 on the year, coming off a 3-0 loss to Louisville here at home, hosting Bethlehem Steel FC 5-6-1. They are coming off a 2-1 win on the road against St. Louis for Bethlehem Steel FC, 2-0-1. in their last 3 games. Brendan Burke, their head coach in his second year, he thinks this is the best this team has ever played.
It's a very young team, but it's a team that's knocking the ball around. I think we saw points last year that maybe they were a little bit more direct than they like to be.
For Coach Brendan Burke, he's trying to do what John Wolyniec did in his first year as we get kicked off here at MSU Soccer Park. Coach Wolyniec won both the regular season title and the USL Championship, the second year of this franchise, now in his 3rd year.
Yeah, you talk about the personality and temperament that's perfect for an MLS squad that has a USL component to it. John Wolyniec is very level-headed, very steady, doesn't get up with the highs, doesn't go down with the lows, really kind of keeps things in perspective. And when you're talking about player development, a player like a head coach like a Burke, like a Wolyniec, so important because of their steadying presence.
Bezecourt making the run out of midfield. Vincent Bezecourt, the leading assist man in USL with 6 so far this year, was USL Player of the Month in May. He is the guiding light attacking-wise for this New York Red Bulls 2 team. On the flip side, the man playing the same position, the number 10, Adam Najim, a native here of Clifton, New Jersey, a New York Red Bull Academy player. His brother, David, on the other side of the field. It's one of the more interesting storylines we're going to see this year.
Yeah, and David Najim is a player who's transitioning from playing in the midfield now to playing right back for Red Bulls too. And then his brother, they're going to have some interesting battles there. Wonder if there's going to be a jersey swap after the match tonight.
You have to think. Come on.
That's a great storyline.
The long shot coming there from Velo. David Najim, the older brother on New York Red Bulls too. Both of them out of the academy, played at Columbia University, as Christian said, in the central midfield, attacking midfield role before spending some time overseas and coming back to New York Red Bulls 2 last season. As the turnover goes to the feet of Velo, trying to find Bezecourt into some space. He's going to get guided out for a goal kick. On the flip side, Adam went to Akron, the soccer powerhouse, originally under Caleb Porter, played his time there. And then this offseason, there was a lot of question marks. Would he go overseas? Would he sign with New York? They traded his rights to Philadelphia Union, who now have him under contract, and he's been loaned down for most of this season here with Bethlehem Steel.
And the two brothers, both very similar in terms of temperament, in terms of style. And I think both of them need to work on the same thing, the speed of play at the USL, MLS level, but also the physicality that is needed. They like to play with the ball at their feet, are technical guys. But when you get to this level, you also have to be a little rough and rugged.
Rafi Diaz with the ball played back to him. He clears it out under some pressure to Bilyeu. David Avador knocks that ball back into the middle. Rafi Diaz, slated to start on Sunday here against Louisville, dislocated his finger about 30 minutes before kickoff, was replaced by Evan Loro. But Diaz back in the lineup today. Velo gets it to the feet of Bezecourt. Bezecourt to Basulovic, trying to find the feet of Velo in the middle of the box. His first shot blocked. Second chance coming now. Basulovic rolls it over a couple times on the top of the box. Now to Junior Flemings. And his left-footed shot's deflected out for a corner kick.
Good wave of attack there from the New York Red Bulls, too. Winning a couple of the 50-50 balls, the second ball challenges there, and just putting a little bit of the first sustained pressure we've seen so far on the Bethlehem Steel backline.
It'll be Bezecourt to take it. Native of France, out of St. Francis, Brooklyn, in his second season. The USL side. The left-footed service curling in. Flicked on at the near post. Douglas Martinez trying to get the early goal. The young Honduran looking to imitate Luis Solinak.
Yeah, and Martinez coming back with some confidence off of that under-20 World Cup there for Honduras. This ball coming into the near post outside of the foot. Was that a back heel flip? I'm not sure, but it was ostentatious nonetheless.
Douglas Martinez scored 5 minutes in to his first ever debut with Red Bulls 2. He then left, as Christian said, to go to South Korea for the U20 World Cup, where he started all 3 games for Honduras. Now back, this is his 4th appearance, his first start for Red Bulls 2. Turnover, a chance to run now for Bethlehem. Krisinenko out wide, slips it into the gym, and he curls his shot, and that's by Rafi Diaz and in. What a moment and what a time to score your first professional soccer goal.
What an effort there. Left-footed curling shot past a helpless Rafi Diaz right there. And just minutes away from his Clifton, New Jersey home here in Upper Montclair. Tremendous, tremendous goal.
So we talked about it off the top. for Adam Najim. Back against his old club. 8 starts in his career. This is 9th, 0 goals. His first professional soccer goal.
And you think he wanted to make a little bit of a statement right there, coming back after all the offseason talk about him possibly moving to the Red Bulls MLS side. Well taken opportunity there.
So the first strike to Adam. Can David respond in this battle of these two brothers? We heard Coach Burke talk to us, and he said, I want to get Adam closer to goal. I want to get Adam and Jim closer to goal, playing him in that number 10 role, and he showed you wide there.
Yeah, such a technical player, but really like his ability there on the ball, just sitting, taking that one touch, the presence of mind, not panicking, setting up with his left foot, and then the placement of the shot. Beautifully done.
Bethlehem Steel FC have never beaten New York Red Bulls, 0-3 last year.
And this is their first ever goal scored in this series.
They were shut out. It was 7-0 across the 3 games. But as we said off the top, Coach Burke feels like this is the best his team has ever played in their year and a half now in USL. And they take an early 1-0 lead. The scare from Douglas Martinez at that near post flick. And back the other way, Najim curls that shot past Rafi Diaz.
Well, David, you said this could be a good match. It certainly started that way.
Billy wins the initial header. Kone able to win the free kick for his team. We highlighted him off the top. Sekou Kone, a Liberian full international, came through the youth ranks and professional ranks in Holland before showing up with Bethlehem Steel. He's the all-time leading scorer in the franchise's very young history. He's got 7 already this season. He scored the first goal to lead the comeback against St. Louis last week after they went down 1-0 on a own goal in the first 4 minutes. Jones to serve it in on that back post. Diaz gets a hand to it, knocked out, and he's able to recover it in the end.
Really want to see how Red Bulls 2 responds now. Philadelphia Union, such a positive start for them with that goal. But we talked about it a little bit, that this Red Bulls 2 team, they've had some difficulties so far this year. We see the record below 500, defending USL champions. But I spoke with John Walenek about this a few weeks ago, and he said, in my job in terms of development, this is a good thing. I want to see how these players handle animosity, hostility, some losing streaks, the downs that go along with being a professional player.
Fleming's trying to get a cross off twice. Both of them deflected, and now the ball goes out off of him. So it looks like it'll be a throw-in for New York in the end, but deep in their own corner. Billy will take it. For New York, we set off the top 21 goals conceded last year on the full regular season. Already now 27 in just the start of this year.
The most porous defense in the USL.
Bilyuk serves it in left-footed. It's flicked away. Najim back into the box, and Velo now gets it under control. The captain, Dan Metzger, behind him. Cross comes in from Velo. Bezecourt flicks it on at the near post. He holds his face as Austin Trusty had a foot up near. Trusty, another player coming back from the U20 World Cup. He scored a goal in his lone appearance for the US U20s off the back of what was a highly successful tournament for them. Tyler Adams, a huge part of that performance for the U.S. He was a big-time player for this team, the first ever signing in New York Red Bulls 2 history.
Yeah, a tremendous story of player development through the Red Bulls Academy system. Tyler Adams then moving on, as you said, the first ever player in signed by the USL team, the Red Bulls 2, and then transitioning, we've seen now really into a full-time starter for the New York Red Bulls. And you look Wednesday night in the Open Cup, the battles that he was having in the midfield, the way he controlled it, the confidence he brought back from the Under-20 World Cup and the influence he had on the Under-20 national team. Now we're seeing Tyler Adams, his development at the MLS level, and potentially I think this could be a guy we see called in to one of the January camps for Bruce Arena to get an early look at the next wave of talent.
Santi Moar charging forward. His cross headed away in the end by Bilyu. And the Jims continuing to pull the strings early on here at MSU Soccer Park, the now full-time home of New York Red Bulls 2. They won their regular season and Cup championship last year at Red Bull Arena. And now they have a home of their own. A great crowd out here, despite the rain on Friday night.
Dollar hot dog night.
Always worthwhile. This corner played in. Ken Tribbett With the header on the far post. Ken Tribbett over 20 starts in MLS last year for the Philadelphia Union. Only one start this season. But Brendan Burks felt like his transition into midfield for this team really helped guide this 3-game stretch, this undefeated stretch, and they hope what will continue here today. Abador goes wide for Bilyeu. The captain, Dan Metzger, here on the ball into the feet of Flemings. Flemings sneaks between two defenders looking for the run of Martinez, and they can't hook up, excuse me. Junior Flemings, one of a number of players here on the 40-man Gold Cup preliminary roster for Jamaica. Corey Burke on the bench right now for Bethlehem Steel FC. He's on that 40-man roster as well. He actually started against Peru on Tuesday night for the full Jamaican national team. Landed in Philadelphia last night. They were not sure if he'd be here for this game, but he's able to make the bench. Looks like it'll be a deep throw in New York's own half. So an electric start to this one. Douglas Martinez missing by inches. Then Adam Najim with the goal. Hugh Roberts pushes this one back to Jake McGuire. McGuire second in the USL in saves in this season out of Tulsa University. Fans, stay up to date on the latest USL news and information from around the league. Tune in to USL Coast to Coast with Mike Watts, Mondays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on SiriusXM FC, Channel 85. And don't forget, SiriusXM FC will air USL Game of the Week. Check USLsoccer.com for that schedule. This one forced out by Endam behind his own goal, so it'll be another corner kick coming here for Bethlehem.
And we're seeing the Union, Bethlehem Steel rather, finding an awful lot of space down there, down that right side, repeatedly making attacks down that wing.
Bethlehem Steel FC in their second year of existence, based out of Goodman Stadium at Lehigh University, looking for their first ever win over New York Red Bulls 2, leading 1-0. A mistake here on the short corner. Junior Flemings is away in some open space. Bezecourt finds his feet. Bethlehem trying to recover all together as quickly as they can. Flemings holds up, and his cross knocked down, and then cleared by Trusty. Bethlehem did well to recover off the initial mistake. Bilyeu curls the cross in. One in, away by Hugh Roberts. Now Fleming's trying to get a second chance at it, and it's cleared out by Charlie Raymond. Vasilovic, we said, the leader in the USL in passes completed. The New York Red Bull homegrown player out of Georgetown. Probably one of the guys competing with Adam Najim for a contract with this Red Bulls organization. And Vasilovic looks like he's going to stick around for the foreseeable future.
And what I like about Vasilovic is he's a possession-oriented player, always looking to make that square pass, those diagonal passes to keep and maintain possession. But we're seeing more and more defensive grit from him and more of a look to go a little bit moving forward with the ball, not just being that cog in the midfield that sprays the ball out wide possession.
Najim coming back, helping out Endam. No foul called as Kone goes to the ground. Douglas Martinez trying to get the ball in possession for New York. He and Flemings finding each other a couple times early on here, but also some miscommunication. We said Martinez, his first start with this team, we know how tough it is for both of these coaches, the amount of movement in their rosters, but it was something Coach Wolenek seemed to really figure out last season that he's still working on again with this new group.
Yeah, it's a brand new group, and you're taking out influential players such as a Tyler Adams, who played so many matches last year for Red Bulls too, or a Derek Etienne now with the MLS squad, and you're trying to bleed in some of these new players. It can be a real challenge there, and we're seeing the movement, and we're seeing Flemings a couple times looking to spring Martinez, taking his run in an opposite direction. When you're a developmental squad for an MLS side, these are the kind of aches and pains you know are going to happen, but perhaps pay fruit next season.
Vasilovic able to win possession back for New York. Junior Fleming's the second leading goal scorer last year with 7 goals, but a knee injury in September ended his season early. Still working his way back from this injury to start this year. He's got 4 goals already. Not at the level he would like to be, as it looked like last year he was going to be one of those players, Christian, that was going to push for maybe an MLS contract, at least a chance in preseason. That all went away with that injury.
Yeah, and there was talk about Junior Flemings that he was going to be part of that group that was going to go off to Arizona for the Red Bulls in preseason. I think he's going to be a player who's probably a couple weeks away from beginning to find his top form. But, you know, there are going to be opportunities for a Junior Flemings in the CONCACAF Champions League. The Red Bulls always play a couple of friendlies with European or South American sides in the summer. So his season's certainly not lost. And when you see the level of play in the USL currently, you know, I think it's a good place for him to grow and to develop. But I certainly think his ceiling is going to be with an MLS first team at some point.
Speaking of friendlies, Bethlehem Steel FC announced on Thursday night that they'll take part in soccer night in Pennsylvania for Sandy Hook. That's on June 27th. As Bezecourt gets into the box now, clips it across the middle. Knocked away. Flemings, his cross blocked again, and it'll go out for another New York corner kick.
And Bezecourt's one of those players that Jesse Marsh has been talking about the past couple weeks. We ask him about players on the USL. He says, I just want to find a way to be able to get some of these guys, a Florian Velo, Vincent Bezecourt, to be able to get them involved.
So it'll be Bezecourt to take as he is taken over as the primary set piece distributor this season. Played in at the near post towards Martinez again. Headed down. Metzger gets it to the feet of Basulovic. New York working around their back line as Bethlehem pushes out. And they're able to push New York out of their offensive half. New York playing in this 4-3-3 formation. It's become very comfortable for them. Jones backtracking, heads it away. Bilyeu pushes forward. Fleming's looking to turn Jones in that far corner. Flemings hasn't been able to get a clean cross away so far in this game. This one works, and Bezecourt's shot is saved by McGuire. A slow rolling cross that snuck through the box, and Bezecourt got good hold of that shot, and Jake McGuire was up to the task.
Good patient work there from Junior Flemings down the left wing, just waiting for his opportunity. Aaron Jones didn't bite the first few times. Good one-on-one defending, but just a little bit of space. Fleming sends that ball across the box and nearly sets up the equalizer.
Now New York with some life in their legs. Velo coming forward. Bezecourt a second look at it. It's blocked. It's still down on the top of the 6. And finally cleared by Bethlehem as New York really starts to turn the screws here. Just north of 15 minutes played here at MSU Soccer Park. Bethlehem Steel FC with their first ever goal against New York Red Bulls 2 off the foot of Adam Najim, New York Red Bull Academy player, Clifton, New Jersey native, back in his home state for the first time ever, and he scored his first professional soccer goal. And now New York Red Bulls 2 are pushing, trying to tie this one up. 2 great looks for Bezecourt in a row. James Chambers, the captain, the elder statesman of this team there in central midfield. 29 years old out of Dublin, Ireland. Was signed to be the centerpiece of this team, Coach Burke. So he's got a bright future as a coach, but still wants him to play for 3 to 5 more years at least.
It's such an intriguing concept when you think about bringing in a player of that age with that experience. So many teams that are affiliated with an MLS side, very heavy on academy players, developmental players, and yet to bring in somebody there who, you know, has that understanding, who has played overseas, played with the Irish under-17, under-21 national teams, comes with that experience level, really to be kind of a guiding hand to help in the development, an extension of the coaching staff on the field in many ways.
Over 400 professional games played, so for a team
in
that's
England and Ireland, and yes,
second youngest team in the Eastern Conference in USL, it's a lot of experience that he can help share with these players. Kone with a good turn. Endom steps in and wins it off the tackle. Now Bezecourt trying to pull the strings for New York going forward. Bilyeu He's almost able to Meg Jones. Metzger comes sliding in to keep possession. And now Ken Tribbett gets called for the foul. Junior Flemings is down on the ground holding his left knee, but the energy and the speed of this game's really turned around in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, and Tribbett there just a little bit late there, nicking the ankle. But you like what you're seeing from Red Bulls too right now. The movement off the ball, sitting in the passing channels and the pockets. The understanding of the movement, so different than the first, opening 10 minutes of this match where they seem to be in disarray, not quite on the same page. This is more the flow that we've seen from Red Bulls 2 consistently, especially last year. It looks a little reminiscent of some of that movement.
Basulovic and Bezecourt standing over this one. Bezecourt's left-footed service. It's headed wide. Velo brings that ball down, closed down by Raymond. He's got Metzger out wide to help him, and Raymond's able to tackle it out and put it off Velo for a throw-in.
And we have a lot of media personalities here at the match tonight. We've got Steve Politti from the columnist from the Star Ledger is here, and some MLSsoccer.com royalty as well.
Yeah, Ben Baer, the research bear, in the house, ready to break down the stats on all of these players.
He's on his USL tour.
As every great analyst is required to do. Flemings and Chambers in a battle there. Basulovic going long for Najim down the line. He heads it to himself, and then Raymond pushes it out. Charlie Raymond, at a University of Kentucky, played for Reading United, the former team of Brendan Burke. Burke know a lot of players around the USL for his time with what is arguably the most successful PDL team, maybe alongside the Des Moines Menace and the Michigan Bucks over the last 10 or so years. Reading United have produced a number of high-level players that have come through the professional ranks. A few for the Philadelphia Union, Bethlehem Steel, like Keegan Rosenberry, John McCarthy, CJ Sapong, but guys like Matt Hedges, Andrew Wenger as well. Nanko goes down with a late tackle from Bilyeu, and now the free kick will be called.
And I like that from the referee right there, letting advantage play, but Bilyeu was late on that tackle.
Soccer fans, Nike is an official sponsor of the USL. For more information, visit NikeSoccer.com. It'll be Jones to take once again. He goes long towards Kone. Headed back into the middle in the gym, trying to sneak that ball past Metzger. Let's get another look at goal. Flemings now, he's seen a lot of the ball early on in this game. Bilyeu sneaks down the line. Douglas Martinez is onside. The outside of the footed cross. And now a chance for Bethlehem to clear their lines. Douglas Martinez showing his right foot dominance there. Basulovic keeps it in. Bezecourt room to shoot. And he pulls his shot wide. New York Red Bulls too, pushing now. Starting to build up the opportunities in this one. Last year, they set the record with 61 goals scored. Scored 39 goals in the second half, more than some teams scored all together. But one of the big things for this team is they have to score first. Because one of the things you always hear, they struggle to break teams down when they take a lead and can sit back a little bit more. You wanted to see how they'd respond to that early goal, about 20 minutes in so far. What do you think?
Well, I think that defensively, it looks like they've tightened things up. And this has been a defensive back four that's been a little bit of flux, both in terms of new talent coming into the back line, but also who's been in the starting 11 week in, week out. And I think to see that they've kind of coalesced their shape a little bit in the back four and kept things tight is good. And then the movement on and off the ball speaks for itself. I think Bethlehem Steel's done a nice job on the counter when they've been able to get the ball out wide, but sustained possession, breaking into the final third. They found some opportunities difficult since that fourth-minute goal.
Adam the Gym continuing to put on a show here in his native New Jersey, right next to his hometown. He's got the wonder goal so far, curling that one into the far corner, giving Rafi Diaz no chance at it, but
that'll be a goal of the week candidate, absolutely. And like you said, just minutes away from where he grew up in Clifton, New Jersey, also home of Giuseppe Rossi, Matt Miazga, Danny Zatella.
The home of soccer. No, I guess
Take that,
Kearney,
Portland.
New Jersey.
Soccer City, USA.
Isn't Kearney, New Jersey the home of soccer?
Well,
John Harkes,
sure,
Tony Meola.
Meola.
Reina?
Nearby.
Nearby.
Tab Ramos, of course.
That guy's pretty good as well, or was pretty good. Coach of the USU 20s now. John Wolenek in his 3rd season as a head coach was USL Coach of the Year last year. And I had a chance to talk to both him and Coach Burke before the game, and you could see for Coach Burke, understanding the success that New York Red Bulls 2 has had, that Coach Wolenek has had, and the similarities and what he can draw from this franchise.
Yeah, and in many ways, I think Bethlehem Steel can fall. A little bit of a tug on the shirt right there. But I think Bethlehem Steel can follow a very similar philosophy to Red Bulls 2, which has seen both success with the USL Championship last year in the regular season and then lifting the title at the end of the playoffs, but also what they've been able to do in getting players ready for the next level. I think, 2 seasons ago, Sean Davis was elevated to the MLS level through his play with the USL. Last year it was Tyler Adams and Derek Etienne, who've had so much success so far this year. And Bethlehem Steel, with the academy system that they have, one of the best in all of MLS through the Philadelphia Union, the access that they have to those players, and then through some good scouting and player development and being able to bring in young internationals, really a lot to offer.
Aaron Jones clips this free kick in. Headed back to the middle. Still alive in the box for Bethlehem. It's Nanko who closes on it. Floats that cross to the far post. Hugh Roberts' header goes over everything.
And Nanko there with a dangerous ball being swerved in right to the edge of the 6-yard box towards the back of the back post.
Hugh Roberts, the final header on that play. He's got 1 goal so far this year. A late game winner in a similar setup against FC Cincinnati at home.
And Roberts, I think, so far through the first half, looked very good in the center of that Bethlehem Steel defense. He's had to clean up a few messes right there, won his aerial battles, but has done a good job through 25, 26 minutes.
Good touch there from David Najim. And now Fleming's coming forward, gets it to Bilyeu. Bilyeu has it on his better left foot, and he curls his shot high.
And the back post there was begging once again.
But Bilyeu getting forward a lot so far in this game. We've seen him at center back a lot. He's played at the MLS level at left back, came out of college from SIU Edwardsville there. Looked a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, and Bilyeu's a player who got the start for both of the CONCACAF Champions League matches for the Red Bulls against the Vancouver Whitecaps in the quarterfinal round. Maybe not some of his best performances that he's had. I think it's been a little bit of an up and down season so far for Bilyeu, but you see the potential, his movement going forward, his willingness to defend, and I think his positional understanding are things that perhaps are overlooked very often when we talk about Justin Bilyeu.
And with the initial mistake, and he forces Diaz into the long clearance. Chambers loses the header in midfield. Fleming's trying to launch the counterattack. It's easily read by this Steel FC side. Vasilovic has runners in front of him. Goes wide for Velo. Velo's early cross towards Fleming's, headed away by Roberts. Velo trying to keep the attack alive. And Raymond puts it out over the bench and into the woods behind these two teams. David Goss and Christian Dyer alongside you for this one at MSU Soccer Park. New York Red Bulls 2 hosting Bethlehem Steel FC. Geographically, these are the 2 closest teams to each other in USL. They've played 3 times last year. They play each other in preseason a number of times. They've got 2 games in 2 weeks against each other here in USL play now.
And also at the MLS level, Red Bulls and going down the road, I-95, going down to Chester, Pennsylvania to play the Philadelphia Union this Sunday. And then a couple weeks' time, they'll be squaring off in round number 5 of the U.S. Open Cup. Scheduling quirks.
For the Union, U.S. Open Cup's been a very successful thing over the last few years. They have not won it, but a number of finals. John McCarthy, a player that we saw get a lot of time. Marcus Epps, who's played most of his minutes here with Bethlehem Steel, got a goal, as did Derek Jones, who's one of their big developmental players who came through the academy in Bethlehem Steel. For these 2 sides, who are the players that maybe are targeting that game thinking they've got an opportunity to get some minutes?
Well, I think certainly you're going to look at Kane for Bethlehem as a player who I think is very exciting. He brings that experience, a couple appearances with the Liberian national team, recently called up in January and February for that national team. You look at him, his movement off the ball. Yes, he's got such a great physical skill set, but in terms of just what he can bring, his understanding of the game, his reading of the channels and where and how he times the runs, I think that's a player who you're seeing. He's got that future. He's got that ability to kind of go up to the next level. Corey Burke, I think, is someone we haven't seen on the field. You detailed a few moments ago the travel travails he had coming back from the Jamaican national team in that match against Peru, where he was a second half sub. But I think Corey Burke is someone, also his understanding of the game, it's someone who I think can easily translate to the MLS level and perhaps a U.S. Open Cup opportunity. For Red Bulls, too, the name we often talk about is Hassan Nadam, the 18-year-old, first year playing professional soccer. Last year was part of that high school powerhouse program with Montverde in Florida. But Nadam is somebody who has all the physical skill set and tool to be able to play at MLS and maybe gets called up for an Open Cup match soon.
Sekou Kone picking up the yellow card after the battle between him and Endam. So both teams have one apiece. Dan Metzger for New York and Endam, Kone for Bethlehem. Aaron Jones with the right-footed service. Tips down. Aaron Jones, the England native, came over to the U.S. to play at Georgia State before transferring to Clemson. There's a free kick going against New York. Martinez not happy with that one. Fans, stay up to date on the latest USL news and information from around the league. Tune into USL Coast to Coast with Mike Watts at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on SiriusXM FC Channel 85. And don't forget, SiriusXM FC will air the USL Game of the Week. You can go to uslsoccer.com for that schedule, as well as all your coverage of the league. A big weekend coming up as these two teams get it started. For Bethlehem, it's a hectic schedule. They play on Tuesday on the road against Harrisburg City Islanders, their in-state rival and former affiliate of the Philadelphia Union. And then they go home. They host Richmond next weekend. For New York, they have the full week off. They head to Ottawa, the first time traveling there, but they've already lost to Ottawa here at home 4-3 in a shootout.
Yeah, for a very frustrating loss for Red Bulls, too, that match. It was a match where they controlled large possession throughout the match, a number of opportunities, but just some defensive miscues, some very direct play from Ottawa, really catching Red Bulls, too, in that press and that counter press, kind of out of sorts and out of shape defensively.
There was a question mark about how you defend the title, and now that teams know how you want to play. We've seen a lot of teams cede more possession to New York. This season, we've seen a lot of games like that where New York's had possession but been frustrated, like it seems like so far in this game.
You ready for my hot take on this?
Uh-oh.
I think if you're a developmental team for an MLS side, such as Red Bulls 2 are, or
Junior Fleming's getting into the box, battling with Roberts. Roberts comes away with it, and now Chambers looks to clear it up the line. Jim turns it over to Abidor. Dangerous back pass from him. Endam in a foot race. He loses to Kone. Kone cuts back to his right foot. Trying to find some space to shoot. Endam able to shoulder him off the ball before giving up a corner kick. And it looks like it's going to go in favor of New York, so it'll be a goal kick. Hassan Endam, knowing he's on the verge. Oh, he draws a free kick. He's on the verge of hearing Christian Dyer's hot take. And he's able to slow play down so he has time to say it.
Well, that's Endam right there in a nutshell. He's a player who could have done a whole lot better there in terms of defensively, takes a gamble, steps forward when he very easily could have just held his mark in check, loses possession, then ends up making a tremendous run, covers a ton of ground, gets the recovery, wins the foul. So that's an 18-year-old who we're seeing why these matches are so important for him, how he responds in those quick little moments. Did very well right there.
This one floats out into the New York Red Bulls too. Bench. John Wolyniec, you see on the bottom of your screen with his arms out. He felt like that was a foul just previously on Kone into the back of Endam. Trusty heads this one wide.
Listen, if Bill Belichick's known as the hoodie vest, then I think John Wallenick is the khaki pants.
Hey, you got to stay consistent. You want your players to feel comfortable every game day. John Wallenick, a very...
Hager wrinkle-free, I believe.
Why ever get your laundry done, right? Why ever get the dry cleaning?
Spoken like a bachelor.
In the gym with the ball. Now Velo goes central for Basulovic. Basulovic cutting into the box. Wide for Velo. Velo takes one long touch. Beats the first defender. Floats it towards Bilyeu, whose header's over the crossbar.
You like that from Velo there, the individual effort, the touch to free himself up, and then the presence of mind, the patience and understanding to know if he sends that ball towards the back post along the 6-yard box, someone's going to be there.
New York Red Bulls trailing 1-0 here. Velo and Bilyeu trying to link up. And it just went over that crossbar.
Maybe a little bit of a push on the back there from Bilyeu.
One of the things we're seeing, though, right now, it feels like, is Basulovic maybe playing a little bit higher, getting more involved in the attack, rather than sitting deep in midfield where, while we said he's led the league in passes, a lot of those passes side to side or south towards his own goal.
Yeah, Basulovic, that's one of the things that I had spoken with Jesse Marsh a couple weeks ago, asked him about Basulovic and his passing completion percentage among the best in the USL week in, week out, and just what exactly they're seeing from this young player. And he said, we want him to be more than just the possession guy, that cog, that pivot that turns in the midfield. We want him to take the ball up, be forward-thinking, but also understanding his defensive responsibilities. And so far, we've seen both components tonight for Red Bulls, too.
It'll be Aaron Jones once again. He's shown how well he hits that service. He's been dangerous so far. He floats it into the middle of the box. Trusty heads it down. Velo on the second header. And now a chance for Bethlehem to take another bite at it. Nanko down the line, one-on-one with Bilyeu, trying to guide the ball out. And it goes out off of New York.
It's been a good battle down there between Nanko and Bilyeu a couple times.
Chris Nanko out of Syracuse University in his first year of professional soccer. This one comes across Diaz, an awkward collision there with Najim. Nanko scored against Harrisburg City Islanders just a couple seconds in to his professional career. Excuse me, not seconds, minutes. His lone goal of the season so far, though. The Brampton, Ontario native, home of a few other pro soccer players.
Great switch there from Basulovic.
Bilyeu waits a little on his cross. Nanko able to recover and puts it out for a corner kick. New York Red Bulls, too, still looking for that breakthrough. The final 10 minutes or so of this first half. It was Adam Najim in the opening minutes with the curled goal to the far post, his first of his pro soccer career, just minutes away from the town where he grew up against the club he grew up in. And New York's been knocking on the door ever since. Bezecourt, the left-footed service. Chambers clears. Najim with the race to it, and Adam Najim gets to it. Goes wide for Chambers towards Nanko, who can't control it, and Metzger will easily guide that one out for a New York throw-in. The two captains for these teams, Dan Metzger and James Chambers, sitting at the base of the midfield for either side, trying to control the pace of play for their teams. Metzger, USU 23, part of Olympic qualifying before he tore his knee, but came back ready to play last year and was a big cog in that double winning side. Bilyeu gets forward again. Early ball to the far post, and McGuire able to see that one out. New York Red Bulls, too, doing a good job over the last 15 or so minutes of at least raising the pace of play a little bit, trying to shift this Bethlehem back line. Kone, it looks like, was pushed down. No call made. But Coach Wallenick has his arms up again on the far side. Intercepted pass. Moar goes wide for Kone. The leading goal scorer for this team, Sekou Kone. And he gets the ball taken off his foot. Martinez trying to shield Trusty, and now Fleming's in a foot race, and he's able to beat Raymond to it. Junior Flemings, he's got a little help inside, looking for Martinez. And it was read by Hugh Roberts.
Too unselfish there from Junior Flemings, but do you like that high press right there from Flemings, reading and understanding and just knowing that the Bethlehem Steel player taking perhaps a little bit too long on his touch to get to that ball. Flemings very nearly going in, but too unselfish. I think the opportunity was there at the back post.
Junior Flemings just 21 years old out of Kingston, Jamaica. He scored, as I said, 7 goals, had 4 assists last year. Tore that left meniscus, but you saw that burst of speed that he's capable of there.
And you see why he was a player who, with the under-17 Jamaican national team, was a captain for them. That type of leadership by example, knowing that this is a high-pressing team, certainly showing that.
Header from below, it's saved off the crossbar. Second chance, put into the side net.
Well, Velo standing very tall right there and rising well. Good body positioning to put that effort on frame. Jake McGuire, though, talk about the presence of mind, the patience that he had, just waiting, reacting.
One of the best looks of the game here for New York off Velo's header.
Yeah, and Velo's certainly not a player who's known as being very strong in the air, but Jake McGuire, like that presence of mind, his understanding where to be able to push that ball. Difficult one to respond to.
For New York, they're playing without their leading goal scorer, Brandon Allen. He's on the bench for this one. 7 goals so far this season. Kone, 7 goals as well. Those two tied for 4th in the USL. That ball intercepted by Najim out into space. And Austin Trusty shows off his wheels. A little bit of a mistake allowing Flemings to nip in. Or Bethlehem's able to clear their lines. Back and forth game right now. Both teams messy in possession. And Roberts will get called for the push in the back. Our head official, Luis Arroyo, with the call.
What you see as messy in possession, I see as end-to-end soccer.
Yo, you are excited. Christian Dyer, a fan of the beautiful game, as always.
It's never ugly.
Born in the true passion of Yoga Bonita. It'll be Bezecourt and Basulovic on this one. We've seen Bezecourt hit it with that left foot a couple times. He curls this one in. Chambers with the first header. And now Nanko trying to avoid giving up the throw-in. Chambers working on it as well before he finally does. Quickly taken for Metzger. Basulovic closed down by Nanko. Back to Bilyu, who's had an active game at left back. Basulovic tackled from behind by Tribbett. Soccer fans, Nike's an official sponsor of the USL. For more information, visit NikeSoccer.com.
You are wearing your Nikes tonight.
Always. You always got to rep the brand, rep the culture.
Good product placement on behalf of Nike right there.
Junior Flemings now on the ball. Burst into the box. Tribbett following him. Still on the feet of Flemings. And he's able to get it back in the end to Najim. Metzger coming forward from his defensive position. And Tribbett's going to guide that one out.
And good to see Rob Chesney here, the Montclair State University's longtime men's soccer team head coach and now an athletic director here with the Red Hawks. Making the rounds, smiling, shaking hands. He is the mayor of MSU Soccer Park.
Montclair State University used to be the training ground for New York Red Bulls MLS team, and that relationship brought back together this year.
Great setting for the sport and for this level of the game. I think this has been a great relationship for the town of Montclair. See so many youth players coming out, and you know we talked about the number of players who have come through the Clifton, New Jersey area and everything else, and just the importance of what this has meant for the national team, for MLS, this part of the country. And I think that this will only enhance that relationship in the community.
Some of those youth soccer players banging on the window to say hi for us and you.
Big
at home.
Big fans of the broadcast.
If you ever have a chance, if you're in the area to come out to MSU Soccer Park Phenomenal place to watch a game. This free kick will go against Jones.
And great work done by Sean Oliver and some of the other people from the Red Bulls organization to help put together this facility.
Of course, Montclair State University, home to a lot of big-time soccer alumni. I'm standing next to maybe the biggest one.
Far from it.
Christian Dyer, former MSU Red Hawk.
Yes. You sneered at that last year when
Hey,
I said that.
You were the one who just decided to bring that back up. I let that go.
I'll never let it go.
Bezecourt will take the free kick once again. Headed away by Bethlehem early, and it goes out for a corner kick.
Well taken free piece there from Bezecourt, but no one crashing into the box. There was no late runners into the edge of the 6-yard box.
1 minute minimum of stoppage time. Can New York Red Bulls 2 find the equalizer here? Will Bethlehem go into halftime with the lead? Their first ever goal against New York Red Bulls 2, trying to hang on for their first ever win. It'll be Bezecourt once again. A left-footed cross. No one there for New York. Abidor on the far post, and his volley easily into the arms of McGuire.
Oh, we've seen good response from Red Bulls, too. After giving up that early goal within the opening 5 minutes of the match, they've controlled possession. They've sustained the possession. The vast majority of the opportunities, very nearly putting one on frame, but for an excellent save there from Jake McGuire. But it certainly is a match that is tilted towards Red Bulls, too, over the past 30, 35 minutes.
So that's it for the first half here as Luis Arroyo blows his whistle, a 1-0 lead for the Bethlehem Steel FC. Adam Najim, his first professional goal just a few miles from where he grew up for Brendan Burke's side. Goes into halftime. What's he going to be saying to this team?
Well, I think that they're going to need to keep more possession there. The linking between the back line and then the midfield has been struggling to maintain that possession, be that conduit into the final third. And for Red Bull 2, it's been a really strong response. I think defensively they've done some good things. They need to tidy up possession in the back line. A couple sloppy giveaways, but you have to like their response, their movement off the ball. They continue this into the second half. They have a good chance at an equalizer.
For New York Red Bulls 2, 36 goals in the second half last year in USL. The record all-time, Brandon Allen, Zico Lewis on the bench, so more attacking options if Coach Wolenek chooses to go that way.
Yeah, there are certainly a lot of options. And for Bethlehem Steel, maybe looking at a player like Corey Burke coming in the second half, someone who can stretch the field, provide an offensive spark.
We'll look at the first half highlights and get your second half action in just a few moments.
Raise the stakes. Expectations are high. Our biggest season yet will break records with elite players and future stars, innovative technology, and new homes. We're growing the game in our communities and across the nation. Are you ready?
Ready to go. Big-time atmosphere here at Red Bull Arena. What a shot saved by Robles. Bradley right for it. Has scored! The ultimate scoring machine. And New York is on fire. Hashtag New York is red. And who would argue with them?
Back here at MSU Soccer Park, David Gosh and Christian Dyer joining you for this one. New York Red Bulls 2, fourth in the Eastern Conference, hosting their closest local rival, Bethlehem Steel FC. And Bethlehem Steel in the lead, Adam Najim, younger brother of New York Red Bull 2's David Najim, with the lone goal in this one. Let's look at the highlights and see how Bethlehem Steel have gotten it done so far in this game. It's been an active game, you could say. Great chances both ways. Douglas Martinez getting us started early.
Yeah, very nearly thought this was going to put the scoreboard lid up right there, but Douglas Martinez with the outside of the foot, but really like this from Najim. The presence of mind that he had, pull it back with the left foot, tuck it in the way that he did, miles away from where he grew up. What a tremendous start to the game for Bethlehem Steel. But Red Bulls 2 responding very well. Repeated attacks right there down the flank. We've seen the involvement of Bezecourt, Junior Flemings repeatedly. A couple good set-piece opportunities as well for Red Bulls 2 in the first half. Florian
Vallot with a header off the crossbar and off Jake McGuire's hands, as well as that shot hitting the side netting. Eventful first half between these two teams. New York Red Bulls 2 with a total of 12 shots in that first half to Bethlehem Steel's 3 shots.
Possession number, well, for Red Bulls 2. We're seeing 60% possession, very high number. We know it's a home match for them, but we saw them grow in confidence, their movement off the ball, their understanding. Thought that they really was trying to look and click like the team we saw last year that won the USL title.
The two players we focus on coming into this one, Sekou Kone for Bethlehem Steel, maybe a little bit quiet, but Arun Basulovic for New York's had a really bright first half.
Yeah, when Kone was able to find some space there on the wings, be able to float out wide, he was dangerous, but just not enough of the ball being come to his direction. I think, he's going to have to do a little bit more movement to be able to free himself up, not drop back too far to hurt their offensive shape. But Arun Basulovic really like what he's doing two ways, bossing the midfield, passing accuracy certainly there, but the forward looking that he's been having, the vision that he's had to spring a couple players into the box, it's been a little bit of a difference maker for Red Bulls 2 so far.
New York Red Bulls 2, they lost in their last home game 3-0 to Louisville City. It was the first time they ever lost to Louisville in their franchise's history. Bethlehem Steel FC trying to do the same here today on this Friday night in front of the home crowd to ruin the night for $1 hot dog night. They are currently sitting on that 1-0 lead. Adam Najim, as we mentioned, New York Red Bull Academy player, playing against his older brother David on the other side, just miles from where he grew up, and he got his first professional soccer goal with that left-footed curling shot. We'll be back in just a few moments with all your second half action.
You can never ruin $1 hot dog night.
Look at you. You're at the top of your game. At work or at play, you're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Oh, hey. She's cute. Nice going, man. Things are going great for you. You've earned a night out. Good drinks, good friends. Yeah, we can go ahead and call this a good night. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Not smart. Yeah, I saw that coming. Say goodbye to her. Ouch, that'll hurt your bank account. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. I hope you like eating frozen dinners. Alone. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
We've raised the stakes. Expectations are high. Our biggest season yet will break records with elite players and future stars. Innovative technology and new homes. We're growing the game in our communities and across the nation. Are you ready?
It was a fairy tale USL debut fit for a king. fit for the king, Didier Drogba. Drogba's debut was the highlight of another strong attendance weekend for the USL. Week 12 drew over 87,000 fans, bringing total league attendance so far this season over the 750,000 mark. Drogba made his presence known early on in front of a sold-out crowd at Phoenix Rising Soccer Complex, but it wasn't until the 40th minute the man everyone had been waiting to see found the back of the net off an Amadou Dia cross. But he wasn't done. In the 77th minute, Drogba drew two defenders and slipped a pass to former Chelsea teammate Sean Wright-Phillips for a familiar far post strike. That goal would serve to be the game winner. Over 7,000 fans were there to witness history for the USL and to witness the King make his mark on the game, having a part in both goals to lead Phoenix Rising FC to the 2-1 win over Vancouver Whitecaps FC 2. For USL Network, I'm Morgan Conklin.
We've raised the stakes. Expectations are high. Our biggest season yet will break records with elite players and future stars, innovative technology, and new homes. We're growing the game in our communities and across the nation. Are you ready?
Ready to go. Big-time atmosphere here at Red Bull Arena. Wide shot saved by Robles. Bradley Wright-Phillips has scored! The ultimate scoring machine. And New York is on fire. Hashtag New York is red. And who would argue with them?
We are back here at MSU Soccer Park. Bethlehem Steel 1-0 up on an Adam Najem beautiful goal, wonder goal, possibly USL goal, the weak candidate here. New York Red Bulls 2, though, doing a real nice job bouncing back there. Final 30, 35 minutes of the match, controlling the flow, the possession, the opportunities. Very nearly had an equalizer.
Douglas Martinez with the sign there, on loan from Vida in Honduras, the Honduran U20 international. His first start. What have you seen from him so far, Christian?
Well, I think there were some opening miscues there from Martinez. A couple times when he made some runs that didn't seem like he was on the same page with Junior Flemings, a couple of the other attacking players. Got himself in good position once in a while. Very nearly had that opening goal for Red Bulls 2 off the corner kick. But I think we're seeing bits and flashes there of the talent that he has, but also the growing pains in terms of understanding the movement, the understanding of his teammates, and just kind of the flow and being able to settle himself in. I'm not sure he's settled into this game yet.
One of the question marks for this team since it's come around really is if Brandon Allen's not there, is there a center forward that can play? Does he look like that type of player?
I think we've seen some bits and pieces of it. We haven't seen a sustain from Douglas Martinez, but yet by the same token, this is all about development, about finding out, about getting players ready for the next level for Red Bulls too, and they're willing to go through some growing pains with the Douglas Martinez. He's a player, you watch him in training with Red Bulls too. He's creative, he's confident on the ball. He's not afraid to pull the trigger from some distance. Certainly has a good pedigree, having played in the Under-20 World Cup. Comes in with some confidence from those 3 appearances, those 3 starts he had for Honduras. But by the same time, this is not an easy system. The high press, the counter-pressing Red Bulls 2 does, like its MLS counterpart, is not the easiest thing for a new player to come settled in. There's some language barriers that he's working on as well. So a lot of components here, but yes, I think you're seeing some promise. That's my long-winded answer for your question.
Douglas Martinez looking for his second ever goal. He scored 5 minutes in to his New York Red Bull career here for New York Red Bulls 2. He's been flanked in this one by Florian Valleau and Junior Flemings. Vincent Bezecourt playing in that number 10 role. 6 assists. He leads USL. Arun Basulovic and Dan Metzger at the base of that New York midfield. From left to right along the back line, Justin Bilyeu, David Abidor, Hassan Endam, and David Najim at right back, facing off against his younger brother, Adam, just a few miles from where they grew up here at Montclair State University. It's been a special night for their friends and family. We actually see a number of their friends and families right there on the sideline yelling to David and Adam. On the flip side, for this Bethlehem Steel FC team, Aaron Jones at right back, Hugh Roberts and Austin Trusley, the center back pairing, and Charlie Raymond. They're holding midfielders Ken Tribbett and James Chambers, the captain. Adam Najim, the lone goal scorer in that number 10 role. Right to left in the attack, Chris Nanko, Sekou Kone, and Santi Moar.
Yeah, good first half there from Hugh Roberts. I thought he controlled the area pretty well, even when Red Bulls 2 had sustained possession. His understanding fundamentally of where he was supposed to be tactically, but good physical skill set as well. Thought he had a very good 45 minutes for Bethlehem Steel.
Rafi Diaz beaten on that early goal from Najim. Not much to do after that. Christian, on the flip side, Jake McGuire. He was a Chivas USA Academy goalkeeper, got an opportunity potentially to make that first team before he went to college. Chose to go to Tulsa in the end, was part of the MLS Combine this year, and was eventually ended up with that first team Philadelphia Union here on loan. What have you seen from him so far?
Yeah, the California kids look pretty comfortable here on the East Coast. I think he's done some good things in terms of controlling the box, come out, claimed a few crosses on set pieces as well, has done what you'd like to see in terms of just his overall understanding of positioning the walls. Communication's been solid. Distribution's been pretty good, but you got to talk about that save that he had in the first half on Florian Valleau and the good reaction he had, positioning, staying there, waiting till the last moment. A lot of young goalkeepers will bite when they see a header like that and cheat to one side. He didn't. He read it. He responded.
It's our goal scorer, Adam Najim, down with the injury on that far side. You see him there behind Coach Wolnick in his 3rd season, the 2016 USL Coach of the Year. A guy with a lot to share for all of these players. He bounced around in Major League Soccer, the New York Metro Stars, Red Bull legend, played in USL with the Rochester Rhinos, as well as Columbus Crew, the LA Galaxy, Chicago Fire. Otherwise known as the Staten Island Messi, of course. And with the clearance, Fleming's coming back to help his team out.
You talk about the Staten Island Messi, had a hand in developing the Haitian Messi, Derek Etienne Jr., a nickname brought up by one of the members of the ESC, Brent Gamet.
Najim curls that ball in, and it goes out. We see the fancy footwork from Bezecourt, gets the crowd on their feet early here in the second half. There was a lot of set pieces and crosses from New York in the first half to create a number of good looks, and they start early here in the second half with the corner kick.
Bezecourt, such a talented player, 1v1, makes quick decisions with the ball at his feet.
Easy call made by our assistant referee down in front of us, Luis Arroyo, our head official. His assistants, Tyler Rostek and Joseph Paulini. David Breckner, our fourth official. Arroyo, not a lot of action, gave out 2 yellow cards in the first half. Not much else to do for him. As the Jim now back out there on the field. Seems to be moving okay. Kone, he's offside as the flag goes up. Kone taking the shot after the play. And Arroyo's already shown him a yellow card in this game. That would be a terrible way to pick up a second yellow. I think Arroyo's telling him, it's the 47th minute, don't start wasting time already. Rafi Diaz, a New Jersey native, 4-year starter for St. John's University, went down and played a little professionally in Orlando before linking up with the Red Bull 2 team. Through ball now for Kone. Kone looked like he was past Abidor. He goes down, no call made. It's the second time we've seen Kone go down in a dangerous position. Both times, Luis Arroyo's waved play on.
Yeah, and talking about Rafi Diaz there, the Morris Hills product out of Rockaway, New Jersey, has always done a good job in training when he's been called up by the MLS squad. You know, he's a confident player. He's a shot stopper. Needs to do a little bit of work on his distribution. As a young goalkeeper, you want to see him developing the communication aspects as well. But in terms of the physical tools that he brings and that ability to stop shots, he has a very promising future.
Ball rolls out for New York. Rafi Diaz of Dominican descent said that he was out on a baseball field to play and saw some players kicking the soccer ball around, and that was the beginning of his soccer career. Once again, these two teams not wasting much time to get going. We saw Martinez put the ball just over the crossbar minutes into the first half, and then the Jim's goal. And here in the second half, fireworks already, some controversial calls, some good looks for New York offensively as McGuire calmly plays out of the back. Trusty swings a foot right through it, goes all the way to the feet of Kone. Now Jones coming forward. A searching pass through the middle for Najim, who curls it wide. Great look from Adam Najim. Now Nanko into the box. Bilyeu trying to recover. Nanko can't find Kone. Najim follows it up. His shot goes through the feet of Chambers, or it's deflected away. Tribbett with the pile driver from the top of the box, and Diaz makes the save. Fans, stay up to date on the latest USL news and information from around the league. Tune into USL Coast to Coast with Mike Watts Mondays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Sirius XMFC Channel 85. And don't forget, Sirius XMFC Channel 85, also the home of your USL Game of the Week. You can check out the schedule at uslsoccer.com. Bezecourt looking over the top towards Flemings. Trusty reads it well. Martinez with the second ball. As Bezecourt now floats out wide. Fleming's looking to turn on Raymond, and Raymond's able to win possession and put it out for a New York throw-in. An active open to the half. Once again, David Najim now in towards Flemings. Flemings looking to get a cross away, and it's blocked out for another New York Red Bulls 2 corner kick. This will be their 5th of the game. It'll be Bezecourt once again, slowly walking over there. He's got some good training on set pieces so far in this one. It'll be another left-footed service. We saw him go short to Najim last time.
I don't think they'll go cutesy after that last offside.
You've got Basulovic sitting on the top of the box with some space around him if he wants to chip one up to him, but you've also got the size of Endom and Martinez in the box. He does go for Basulovic. First touch from Basulovic off the chest. Adam Najim comes back and recovers and makes a defensive play. Bezecourt able to get onside this time. Looking to beat Moar. He gets into the box, cuts it back, and only a Bethlehem Steel player there to defend.
Basulovic doing so well there.
Coney in a foot race. Diaz out to handle it.
Like that from Basulovic, though, a few moments ago, sustaining the possession, controlling it. Perhaps, again, another player we're saying on Red Bulls, too, a little unselfish, trying to dummy that ball through.
Kone goes down in the middle of the field, a collision with David Abador. No call made by Arroyo once again.
This, if you're Bethlehem Steel, you want to see how Kone responds here. He's been in a couple tussles now in the first 7-8 minutes of the second half. Has been showing a little bit of a temper. Want to make sure that he's responding and in a good frame of mind and controlling his emotions and not lashing out. He's already sitting on that yellow card.
Bilyeu blasts that cross over everything. Justin Bilyeu, a New York Red Bull draft pick at SIU Edwardsville. He's had a good season so far for New York Red Bulls, too. He's also gotten the opportunity to play in a couple MLS games with New York Red Bulls, including a start on the road against Seattle at left back. His lone MLS appearance of the year. He made his debut last year as a substitute against FC Dallas. FC Dallas has the second youngest goal scorer in Major League Soccer history, Jesus Ferreira, son of David Ferreira, goal a few weeks ago. And this is starting to become a bit more prevalent as clubs like New York Red Bulls and Philadelphia Union build out their academies. Young pro players like Tyler Adams and Derek Jones getting more and more opportunities.
Well, look at the Under-20 World Cup roster. I mean, it was 2 cycles ago where it was predominantly college-based players, and now that is the exception, not the norm anymore. Academy players, overseas players, making up the vast preponderance of the Under-20 roster that went to the quarterfinals.
Bethlehem not happy at all right now with their head official, Luis Arroyo. This time it was Santi Moar who went down trying to dribble into the box off the contact with Abidor. No call made again. Bilyeu coming forward. He's able to get by Jones. Jones able to at least push him wide. Bilyeu wants it on his favored left foot. He's able to get into the box. The cross made, and it goes right into the arms of McGuire.
Well, Bilyeu's been finding a lot of space down the left side now for the last few minutes, but hasn't done a whole lot with those crosses. A couple good opportunities, but needs to swing that one in with a little bit more decisiveness. Didn't even reach the front post.
If you're Coach Burke, don't you have to find a way to get an attacking player in that area to try and maybe make Bilyeu think once or twice about making all these forward runs?
Well, I think that there needs to be someone who comes into the midfield who settles things down just a little bit for Philadelphia. You know, James Chambers right now has been a little bit invisible. The 29-year-old midfielder brings a lot of experience from his time in Ireland and England. But yet, David, I just don't see him being that sustaining, calming presence right now. Maybe a player like a Corey Burke or somebody else who can stretch the field, could just add a different component in and make Red Bulls 2 have to think about the counter.
Corey Burke's up on the sideline, standing next to our fourth official. He's got a board in his hand, and he's ready to come on, as Christian Dyer, of course, predicted. Moar cutting in now to the feet of Adam Najim. Chambers back to Najim. Adam Najim's got the lone goal. He chips it over the top. Moar beats the keeper, and it's in. Bethlehem Steel FC take a 2-0 lead. Once again, the brilliance of Adam Najim back in his home state of New Jersey. He's got a goal and an assist, and Santi Moar has made it 2 for Bethlehem Steel FC.
The presence of mind there from Adam Najim. The chip perfectly placed, perfect time. A little bit cheeky here from him, and Moar really liked what he did. Didn't try to be fancy, just wanted to put it over Rafi Diaz, who was coming out trying to cut down on the angle.
And that chip from Adam Najim.
Fresh.
What a play by the young man out of Clifton, New Jersey, against his old club for the first time ever. He's got a goal and an assist. What a performance it's been. Ethan Cutler coming in for Justin Bilyeu, so he'll go to right back. David Najim will swap sides and go to left back. And as we said, Corey Burke coming on in place of Sekou Kone. Kone, the leading goal scorer for Bethlehem Steel FC, coming into this one with 7 goals, and Corey Burke just returning from that trip with the Jamaican national team down in Peru, a World Cup, for a friendly. They lost 3-1, and now he comes on for about half an hour's worth of action.
Surprised he's going to be on for about that long, given the travels he had, having just played in a match. No, he wasn't a starter, but it's an awful lot of minutes now for somebody basically fresh off a plane traveling for 48 hours.
What a game for Adam Najim.
Think he played with a chip on his shoulder?
Flemings cuts back. Left-footed cross, intercepted by Chambers, who will now clear his lines. He's trying to get it past Cutler. New York have to be a little frantic now as they need at least that first goal soon. Brendan Burke said to us that Najim's played well, but he hasn't dominated a game. He hasn't won them a game yet, changed the game.
He can't say that anymore.
He can't say that anymore. What a performance it's been for Adam Najim. And we said it. A number of young central midfielders in this New York Red Bull system. Sean Davis and Tyler Adams, Dan Metzger. Now Arun Basulovic as well. Kazu Shigenobu as a young academy player. Kyle Zajac at Georgetown University as well. And Adam Najim just lost in the shuffle maybe. And he was put out there as an available player, and the Philadelphia Union jumped on it, snatched him up. And here in his 9th start in USL, he's got a goal and an assist. New York works the ball around the midfield. It's going to be an even taller task than it already was. And keeps that ball in. Ian Cutler out of Colgate University. One of those players converting positions a little bit. He was an attacking midfielder similar to David Najim, as Velo goes flying to the ground and Aaron Jones holds his head. An ugly collision between those two in the center of the field. Soccer Fans, Nike's an official sponsor of the USL. For more information, visit NikeSoccer.com. We look at these two players now down on the ground. For Velo, a slower start to the season than it was last year when he and Bezecourt just jumped onto the scene and connected so much. But for Velo, he started to come on. He's a strong game in this one. The finishing hasn't been there for him. We saw Jake McGuire tip his header off the crossbar. And he's now down in a lot of pain as at least Aaron Jones is up. And he goes and shakes his hand. The training staff out there feverishly working on Velo. Maybe some blood coming from the back of his head. Ethan Cutler's come on as a substitute for New York, we mentioned. They have some options on the bench. Zico Lewis, who's been a full-time starter for this team, first-round draft pick out of BC, and Brandon Allen, their leading goal scorer last year and this year. Both options for Coach Wolnick off the bench.
Yeah, and really like Andrew Tenari, what he's brought the past couple games as well in terms of being a two-way midfielder, the way he's been able to sit back, clog up things in the passing channels, but also be able to carry the ball forward. He might be an interesting option if they want to reshape the look of the midfield as well.
Ibrahim Sakaya and John Wolnick, the two coaches for this team, got their rings at the beginning of the season, ahead of the game against Harrisburg City Islanders at Red Bull Arena, which they then went out and lost 1-0. It's not been the same year as it was last year. One of the things, Christian, that we saw both seasons so far under Coach Wolnick for this franchise is that summer stretch where they really start to find their feet. New groups every year, and long road trips in June and July have seemed to be when this team really glues together.
Yeah, there is something that seems like whatever's in the water that they start drinking by the midway point of the summer, all of a sudden they start to congeal as a team. And I think when you look at the amount of change that's gone through this team from last year's USL squad to this year's team, it goes back to the hot take I wasn't out to finish before and how rude of the game to present some scoring opportunities to not let me finish this. But I don't think when you're a developmental side, as Red Bulls 2As or a number of other teams are in the USL, that you should ever be at a point where you are back-to-back champions. And I say that because if you're a champion one year, the bulk of that team should be moving on in perhaps other directions, but also moving up to the MLS roster. And we're seeing that this year with the loss of players like a Tyler Adams and a Derek Etienne.
Bezecourt floats it to the far post. It's headed away by Tribbett before Abidor can get it. Now Abidor down, holding his head. Velo's over on the far sideline being worked on by every member of the New York Red Bull sideline right now. Coach Wolenek standing over him as well, and the fourth official trying to figure out if he can resume play. So right now 10 on 11 for New York Red Bulls 2, and they need to start making a dent on this lead with under half an hour left to play. It'll be Bezecourt to take. He curls it in. McGuire out. He gets a punch to it. No one on the top of the box for Bethlehem. Metzger waits for it to come down. Floats it to the far post for Endom. Tries to lay it off for Abidor, and it goes to the feet of Corey Burke. His first touch of the game, the Jamaican international. His pass intercepted by David Najim. Najim charging forward. Trying to equal his brother if he can. His cutback pass intercepted by Tribbett. Now Adam Najim on the ball. Plays it into the space for Nanko to run. One-on-one now with Abidor. This is where Bethlehem wants to take advantage. Nanko tries to get inside of Abidor, and he's able to get a touch to it, and it goes into the hands of Rafi Diaz.
Yeah, and Najim moving forward, vacated a lot of space on that left side of the Red Bulls defense. No one sliding over. Good counterattack opportunity there for Bethlehem Steel.
And, of course, Adam Najim noticing David out of position, trying to take advantage. Bezecourt cuts back. He tries to clip it over the top for Flemings. It's headed initially by Trusty. Flemings goes down with a little bit of contact in the box. No call made. And Trusty now picks up the ball.
And for the third time in a couple minutes, a Red Bulls 2 players down on the ground.
Flemings holding his right leg. Last year was his left meniscus. That caused him to miss the final playoff run of the season. Raymond coming forward. Clips it to the far post. No one near David Najim. And Flemings is back up on the other side of the field, jogging himself into an onside position. It looks like Velo's got a new shirt on that far side, and he comes back on the field now, so New York Red Bulls 2 finally at full strength. Metzger blasts it long. Jones, who was the one who collided with Velo, he's been able to stay on the field. Long ball from McGuire. Burke wins it back to Tribbett. Jones comes forward, keeps possession for his side. Not something we've been able to say a lot in this second half, but it hasn't mattered. The brilliance of Adam Najim and the finishing of Santi Moar means that this Bethlehem Steel FC team's done everything they wanted to do, trying to beat New York Red Bulls 2 for the first time in their franchise's history. Velo in a foot race, wearing the number 2 jersey on that far side. Switched from his normal 22. Velo's got time and space to cross. It's headed away by Roberts before it can get to Martinez. Vasulovic into the feet of Bezecourt, trying to turn. He's got Jones pulling all over him. Velo to the feet of Vasulovic, into the path of David Najim, cuts inside and just misses by an inch. It's a save by Jake McGuire. David Najim trying to equal his brother and get his first goal of the season.
Well, we've talked an awful lot about Adam Najim in this game, but what a save there by Jake McGuire. Once in the first half, now in the second half. Done so well when called upon. Tremendous save by McGuire.
So a substitute for New York here. It'll be David Abidor coming off. Jordan Scarlett, his second appearance of the season. He goes straight in for this corner kick. Comes towards Scarlett, and Trusty with the header. Scarlett now gets his first touch of the game, trying to turn center back against center back. Well won by Austin Trusty. And now Chambers launches his team back the other way. A wet surface takes that ball on a skip, and Metzger finally gets the free kick in his favor.
This was a great little piece of build-up played here a few moments ago from Red Bulls too. Like the deft touch right there from Najim, and then Jake McGuire. I think he just got a fingertip on there, but great reaction save.
Jordan Scarlett coming on. As I said, his second appearance of the year. Started the season with a shoulder injury. The Iona College Gale. But a player that they expected to be a part of the center back rotation for this team, along with Andrew Lombard. The two of them combined now, just these two appearances. Cutler skips by the defender. The cross on the ground, handled well by Bethlehem, and it rolls out for another corner kick. So it'll be Vasulovic to take this time. We saw Bezecourt taking most of these. He's sitting on top of the box. Vasulovic fakes the short corner. And now the right-footed service. Hit low, flicked on at the near post by Velo in that number 2 jersey now. But it goes over the top. McGuire will take it short. So Scarlett and Lombard, two players coming back now. A guy like Justin Bilyeu, who's played a number of minutes at center back, can play in his more favored left back role now and maybe bring some security to this back line as they are in threat now. Corey Burke in one-on-one, and the save made by Rafi Diaz. It looked like Burke coming back from his Jamaican international break was going to score easily on that one before Rafi Diaz stood up to him.
Yeah, and Corey Burke with a good run there down the right channel, receiving the ball. Perhaps one touch too many right there, the ball running away on this slick surface. But yeah, Corey Burke not showing very much rust from his layoff.
New York Red Bulls too need goals. Brandon Allen, you saw, stepping to that midfield line, ready to come on as a sub. Bethlehem Steel also have a player up to come on as a substitute. Luis Arroyo, make sure there's no illegal pushing in the box, and we continue on with the Bethlehem corner kick. Headed down in the box, Tribbett trying to get there first. It's slid away by Martinez. So the two substitutes coming on now. It looks like Anthony Fontana is going to be the substitute for Bethlehem. Fontana, a Bethlehem Steel Academy player, a true attacking number 10, a young player that this franchise is very excited about. This just his second appearance. He is a junior in high school. We, of course, all were doing high-level things like playing professional sports when we were a junior. On the flip side, Brandon Allen comes on for Junior Flemings. So it looks like Douglas Martinez will push wide, and Allen will go into his favored center forward role. Santi Moar leaves with the second goal scored in this game, his second of the season. The assist from Adam Najim. Bezecourt puts the ball out in front of his own path, and Chambers is over to deal with it defensively. Bezecourt trying to play it into space, but no one there. Any consensus for you on Junior Flemings? His performance saw sparks, but not that final product.
No, the final product is perhaps missing, but coming off the injury that he had, and I think just the run to find the form, you can see Junior Flemings is starting to look like the player that we saw last year, who we all thought was destined for the MLS level. Liked his movement off the ball, creativity, good one-touches, and we're going to be talking about the high press too and how he fits in there. Couple key wins in that press and counter press.
Long switch of the field from Velo to Martinez. Martinez with the early cross, trying to get it back to Velo. And Velo able to stretch out and keep possession. Gets it to the feet of Vasulovic, his pass intercepted. Cutler closes on the ball. a battle now, and Adam Najim comes away with it, trying to chips it over the head of his brother. For Scarlett closes it down for Brendan Burke's side. He knew that New York Red Bulls 2 would come press them. He wanted to get a few players out wide in one-on-one situations to try and take advantage. Santi Moar, we didn't see that much, but he got the goal.
Well, certainly, and I think you're talking about a game plan that worked pretty well, and we've talked about it before, how teams have come into MSU Soccer Park and played just the Red Bulls 2 overall. They've ceded possession, they've given up the wings, they've stacked the box, but really closed things down in the final third to limit opportunities. And I think right now that Red Bulls 2 perhaps lacking a player like a Derek Etienne or someone who's got that creative decisiveness in the final third who can get behind a team's back line. Red Bulls 2 kind of searching for answers right now, how they're going to score goals and certainly how they're going to stop goals from being scored on them.
Adam Najim goes wide to Nanko. Nanko's early cross cleared by Endom. One of the things Coach Burke said to us before the game was how pleased he has been with the communication with the Jamaican FA in terms of when Corey Burke will be leaving, when they need him, and how sharp he's looked when he's come back. And we've seen that so far in this game. He's looked very good off the bench.
And a player that, quite frankly, Corey Burke should probably be on an MLS roster. He's that talented. He brings that much in terms of just his overall speed and understanding of the game, but also the final product.
Cutler in his more natural number 10 position now, rather than right back, which he's learning to convert to. A broken foot earlier in the season, actually played about 30 minutes against Richmond with that broken foot before returning last week against Louisville in his first few minutes off the bench, and another opportunity to start working into match fitness here tonight. Metzger to the feet of Martinez. Bethlehem Steel, a strong defensive back line. Endom furious. And Luis Arroyo is going to show him a yellow card. So the yellow card to Endom.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. The referee's issued a yellow card.
2 yellow cards so far for New York. Just 1 on the flip side for this Bethlehem Steel side. Fans, you could stay up to date on the latest USL news and information from around the league. Tune into USL Coast to Coast with Mike Watts at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on SiriusXM FC every Monday. And as well, you can listen to the USL Game of the Week. You can go to uslsoccer.com to check that schedule.
Yeah, Mike Watts does a great job on that show.
Bezecourt charging forward now. He's got 6 assists, leads the USL. Does he got one more in him to get his team at least halfway back? Allen, his first touch in the box, lays it off. Basulovic trying to beat that last defender. Turned over, but back now in possession is this New York Red Bulls 2 team. The crowd begging them to shoot. Bezecourt gets into the box, and his cross blocked away. Another corner kick coming for New York Red Bulls 2. It'll be Bezecourt to take. So the out-swinging left-footed service. And in towards that near post. And a free kick will go against New York. About 15 minutes left to play. What does this Bethlehem Steel FC team have to do to get out of here with their first victory ever against New York Red Bulls 2?
Well, bend, don't break. Like a few moments ago when they let Bezecourt in behind the back line, that's going to always be a dangerous situation. Right now, they need to make sure that their back four stays compact. They clog things up in the middle. Seed the wings, certainly, because with the height and strength they have in their back line, they should be able to win the vast majority of those aerial duels.
Last substitute of the game for Bethlehem Steel FC, Chris Nanko going off, and coming on in place of him, Josef Samuel. Samuel, another one of these Philadelphia Union Academy players that Brendan Burke has in training. He has about 10 of them in training every day from the YSC Academy. Samuel was the second ever YSC signing for Bethlehem Steel. This is his 6th appearance. He's got 1 assist so far this year. Clips this ball over the head of Endom. Pulls Corey Burke just a little bit wide. Burke now lining up Endom. Plays it back into the feet of Samuel. Stepped over. Now Fontana gets it to the box. Beats a defender, and Diaz is out to close on it. The two high schoolers, Samuel and Fontana, linking up there. As Bethlehem looks to stretch that lead a little bit more. New York gave up a 90th minute goal to Louisville City in their last game here to lose 3-0. Currently sitting down at 2-0. You can see Coach Wolonek on the bench waving his team forward. Martinez back across the face of goal. It's headed away. Fontana does well to keep it in, but Burke's touch, a little bit of an air ball. Martinez will get called for the foul in the tussle with Raymond.
Talk about good learning experiences, though, for Red Bulls, too. We talked about in the first half how John Wolonek said he actually welcomed some of this adversity. He thought that things maybe were too easy on his uber-talented team that he had last year. But you're talking about getting players ready for the next level. I look at a player such as Hassan Nadam out there at the center back situation, going up against a Corey Burke in the second half. In the first half, so many battles with Kone that he had. Just the opportunities there to learn. He had a bad pass or two. He had the yellow card a few minutes ago. But the kid's always bouncing back. And these are the opportunities that, whether it's this year or next year, when he gets that opportunity with the MLS team, he's been on the game day roster. He's been eligible to be a substitute, but when he finally gets that opportunity, he can draw upon these moments, these battles, the high level of play here in the USL to help further and advance his development.
Aaron Long, 2016 USL Defender of the Year, center back for New York Red Bulls too. He's playing his time now with the Red Bulls in Major League Soccer.
And did a tremendous job on Wednesday night against Jack Harrison. Jesse Marsh saying to you, you've never seen Jack Harrison that quiet before on the pitch.
Jack Harrison, high school teammates of Zico Lewis, who a little surprising maybe that we haven't seen him in the game yet. Scarlett all the way back to Diaz. Burke putting the pressure on. Diaz takes a touch, and he gets it away just before Burke closes on him. Good first touch there from David Najim. Into the feet now of Bezecourt. Samuel tried to tackle it away from behind. Free kick goes against Bethlehem, quickly taken by New York. New York, not a lot of time to waste now. Final 10 minutes of this one, trailing 2-0 here at home. Coming off a 3-0 home loss last week. Trying to change things up now. Soccer fans, Nike's an official sponsor of the USL. For more information, visit NikeSoccer.com. An up and down season for New York Red Bulls too after their barnstorm last year, but it was the second half of the year where they really turned it on last year and created some serious distance between themselves and Louisville City for that supporter shield. Rafi Diaz trying to rush back there in front of the Rampage. The far right side of the field, the official supporters group of New York Red Bulls 2. Brandon Allen wins the header in possession of Bethlehem. And a free kick now at Burke earns Bethlehem Steel FC. Using the same name as Bethlehem Steel, one of the most successful teams in U.S. soccer history. 5 U.S. Open Cups, 4 in 5 years between 1907 and 1930. A man named Charles Schwab was the CEO of Bethlehem Steel when he took that team professional, built that first ever soccer-specific stadium, now used by Moravia University.
Whatever became of Charles Schwab?
I think he went into business, but I'm not quite sure about that one. That touch too long for Martinez. Fontana to plenty of space for Chambers, who chips it back towards Fontana, and it's read by Diaz. Anthony Fontana, though, a high school junior, his second professional soccer appearance. He's looked very strong so far.
Yeah, Fontana doesn't look like he's out of place at all, or this the level of play, the quickness of it is above his head.
Bezecourt takes it quickly. One of the incredible parts of this USL setup, the ability to loan a player from the academy and they don't lose college eligibility. So players like Fontana, we've seen Kevin O'Toole play. Mason Deeds, Ben Mines play a number of professional soccer minutes before they even get to that college level. Some of them testing whether or not they'll skip college and go pro. Other ones learning in leaps and bounds before they become leaders on their college soccer teams. David Najim cuts in field. Head official trying to get out of the way. Starting to get a little stagnant for New York as Bethlehem sits deep in a block of about 9 defenders. Switch of the field to Endom. Scarlett and Burke back at center field and everyone else in the final third right now. Cutler's cross is blocked and it'll go out for a throw-in. Bezecourt trying to turn his man. He clips it in for Martinez. Trusty able to sneak around him.
And we haven't called out Trusty's name an awful lot, but been very solid there in the back line. Good positioning. He's won all of the individual battles.
Trusty, a goal against New Zealand in the round of 16 of the U20 World Cup for the U.S., a 6-0 blowout. Bezecourt clips this one in. Allen's open in the box, and his shot blocked. And then it go wide, and it goes out for a goal kick. Aaron Jones put him under enough pressure to put off last year's USL Cup MVP, Brandon Allen.
And I think perhaps that call of a goal kick, perhaps a little bit unfortunate there for Aaron Jones, who I think got his foot in on there. But when you look at this ball coming in and Brandon Allen taking it, one touch too many, the opportunity was going to be there for him to one-time it, a little bit of a heavy touch. I think maybe the referee got it right. I take it back. You'll never hear me say that again. The referee got it right.
Christian Dyer, the saint that he is, of course, always ready to fess up to any mistakes that are made or allow me to do it for him.
Gee golly, I was wrong.
Samuel, the ball over the top. Burke is onside. Long first touch, trying to run around Scarlett, and Diaz comes out to clear. The Caribbean battle there, the Dominican Republic player against the Jamaican. Corey Burke, along with Romario Williams, Dane Kelly, down in Peru on Tuesday in an international friendly. Those players, as well as Junior Fleming's, on the 40-man preliminary roster for the 2017 CONCACAF Gold Cup, coming up in just a few weeks here in the United States.
I hope that Flemings gets a long look from the Jamaican setup. He is a talented player, plays quickly with the ball at his feet, so creative and full of confidence. We've seen the work rate just grow over the past year. So important here with the New York Red Bulls and the high pressing that they do, the energy they try to bring in terms of the defensive work rate. But Junior Flemings, I think, is a player who should be in MLS soon. And I hope Jamaica gives him the opportunity to perhaps get at the very least, a long look, if not make that final roster.
And a lot of talk about what USL can do for the soccer setup in the United States. But, of course, Canada, Mark Anthony Kaye got his Canadian debut, the Louisville City player, Raheem Edwards as well, who came through the Toronto FC 2 system. A number of other players, especially some Vancouver Whitecaps players that have played for Vancouver Whitecaps FC 2, getting their debuts. And then you look at the other national teams around the region. We mentioned Douglas Martinez, a Honduran U20 international. You've got players around the league playing in CONCACAF, and all of those Jamaican players. Derek Etienne Jr., a Haitian international, made his debut last year while he was with Red Bulls 2. New York, just a few minutes left here, trailing 2-0. Ball over the top for Douglas Martinez, and McGuire safely into his hands. As the seconds tick down. For New York Red Bulls 2, a good flurry of chances to open up the second half since Moar's goal. They've had a lot of possession. And as you said, bend but don't break for Bethlehem. Burke is able to earn a precious free kick, and Endom already a yellow card.
I don't think he agreed with that call.
Luis Arroyos had a number of conversations on both sides so far in this game. Chambers takes that one quickly for Fontana. Adam Najim has shown his ability and skill throughout the night, from that early goal in the 8th minute and that assist here in the opening minutes of the second half, but consistently every time he's gotten on the ball. Trusty reads that one like a book. Diaz lets it roll out. For you, man of the match?
Well, I think it's certainly going to be Adam Najim. When you look at the everything positive in the final third for Bethlehem Steel came through his foot. That 4th minute goal, the composure that he had there to read, to go then towards the back post and tuck it in, and then the chip on the cross. I certainly think that was maybe even more than the goal what really stood out. The composure, the touch, the understanding that he had in that moment to be able to read and see the way the defense was set up, holding up. They were stretched apart. Where he put it was the perfect spot.
It's a 3-game road trip for Bethlehem Steel FC. They won 2-1 in St. Louis last week after trailing 1-0. Early on, it looks like they might get a second win here against New York Red Bulls too before traveling to Harrisburg City Islanders on Tuesday.
Yeah,
They've got a minimum of 5 minutes of stoppage time coming up here.
That trip to Harrisburg is never an easy one for teams. It can be a very difficult place to play, and when you're talking about Bethlehem Steel versus Harrisburg as well, there's that natural interstate rivalry, the affiliation that Harrisburg had with Philadelphia Union. Also, I'm sure going to be factoring into this meeting.
Philadelphia Union beating Harrisburg City 3-1 in U.S. Open Cup action this week.
Advance to play the New York Red Bulls in a couple weeks' time at Red Bull Arena.
Should be a great one. Everyone should get out and see that one as Velo comes across the face of goal. And his shot just wide.
And we haven't called Velo's name too much here in the second half, but that's the individual brilliance. He has the touch, getting himself a little bit of space, then the left-footed shot, almost finding that back post.
Florian Velo out of France alongside Vincent Bezecourt. Scored a big-time goal last year on the road against FC Cincinnati. That really started New York Red Bulls' 2 strong stretch down the end of the season where they broke open a gap between them and 2nd and 3rd place in the Eastern Conference as Jake McGuire picks up a yellow card. Hassan Endom will be suspended for the next game after his yellow card accumulation. Picking up one in this game.
Well, we talked about Adam Najim and what he brought to the game for Bethlehem Steel. I think equally as important was Jake McGuire. His performance, 2 big saves, one in the first half, then one in the second half, both of which probably most other goalkeepers wouldn't have gotten to.
Martinez puts his arms out. He's got one option, gives it to Bezecourt, and once again, another cross, another slip pass, put out of bounds for a corner kick. This Bethlehem defense, the essence of bend, don't break, as everyone in the box except Adam and David Najim. Short corner to the top of the box, clipped in by Cutler. Burke will look to bring it down. His long touch goes to Chambers. Now Adam Najim on the ball. Burke gets it to the feet of Fontana. Fontana sprays it wide for Aaron Jones to run onto. 3 minutes left of that minimum 5 minutes of stoppage time. We'll see if Bethlehem Steel, and they will go to the corner rather than push for that 3rd goal. Joseph Samuel, the young player, making that decision. It looks like a foul called against Samuel. The battle of the Najims here. Their older brother, David, on New York Red Bulls 2, and Adam, the younger brother. Looks like he'll get the upper hand against the team who nurtured him through the academy. He played U23 PDL soccer for New York Red Bulls 2, and now a Philadelphia Union Bethlehem Steel player. He's got his first professional goal and assist. Cutler goes wide to David in the gym. Clips the ball. Long switch for Douglas Martinez. Martinez now, and his cross right into the belly of Charlie Raymond.
Another corner kick for Red Bulls, too.
Red Bulls, too, have not made them count this game. It'll be back-to-back games at home shutout for the team that set the record for goals scored last year. Question marks abound for Coach Wolenek's side. Bezecourt plays it in, charging in his Endom. In the gym, pushes it wide. New York Red Bulls 2 fans want a reason to cheer and a reason to explode here in this game, and they have not gotten it. Close in the first half. Martinez inches over the crossbar. Florian Velo's header saved off the crossbar by Maguire. Bezecourt here, the number of good looks, but the breakthrough has not existed there over these last 2 games. Cutler, the mistaken touch there. So a lot for this New York Red Bulls 2 team to figure out over the next few weeks. They've got a road trip to Ottawa coming up next week before they head to Lehigh Valley to face off against Bethlehem Steel FC. And as I said, Bethlehem, a quick turnaround for Tuesday night game at Harrisburg. And they go home to host the Richmond Kickers and then New York Red Bulls 2. Vasilovic floats it in. Endom heads it down. On that far post, Velo blasts through it and puts it over the crossbar as we have the final seconds coming up here of this one. Friday Night Lights out at MSU Soccer Park. If you are in the area, make sure to come out for New York Red Bulls 2.
$1 hot dog nights on Friday nights.
Friday night, of course, as Christian says, $1 hot dog night, July 1st. A Saturday, but 4 p.m. against St. Louis FC as Precky's team comes here to MSU Soccer Park for the first time this season. As that'll be it. Bethlehem Steel FC beat New York Red Bulls 2 for the first time in their history. Adam Najim, the New York Red Bull Academy player, facing off against his older brother, David. A goal and an assist. What a performance for Bethlehem from first minute to last.
Yeah, you have to like what they did defensively. You know, we can talk about Adam Najim all night long and the impact that he had for Bethlehem Steel, the compactness, the shape. When called upon, Jake Maguire certainly doing his part and standing tall there, but an overall good team performance, getting the first win in franchise history over New York Red Bulls 2. First goals ever scored in this series now, and I think a little bit of momentum as they're in this difficult part of a road trip.
For New York Red Bulls 2 and Coach John Wolenek, a few question marks for this team as they now need to figure it out in back-to-back road games before they come back against St. Louis FC. We'll be back with our post-game and our highlights in just
We've raised the stakes. Expectations are high. Our biggest season yet will break records with elite players and future stars. Innovative technology and new homes. We're growing the game in our communities and across the nation. Are you ready?
Ready to go. Big-time atmosphere here at Red Bull Arena. Wide shot saved by Robles. Bradley right Phillips has scored! The ultimate scoring machine. And New York is on fire. Hashtag New York is red. And who would argue with them?
David Goss and Christian Dyer here at MSU Soccer Park. Bethlehem Steel FC get their first ever win against New York Red Bulls 2. It was a big night for two players especially, Adam and David in the gym, facing off as brothers for the first time ever, just a few miles from where they grew up in Clifton, New Jersey. for the club New York Red Bulls that they both grew up in the academy of, and Adam Najem got it started off with a flash.
Well taken goal there, the presence of the mind at the top of the box to cut across with a quick touch. And then here, I like this chip even more. Really savvy touch there, putting it right where it needed to go.
For New York, we felt like they were playing quicker, that they had a bit more attack to them than they did against Louisville, but they couldn't find the finish.
Lots of opportunities there for the Red Bulls, too, early on in the second half in particular. Sustained possession, created pressure, but just couldn't get that final pass, that final opportunity to go into the back of the net. Past Jake McGuire. What a very solid night for Bethlehem Steel.
Brandon Allen, 7 goals so far this season. He couldn't find the back of the net. For New York, a lot of question marks. 2 now road games. What can they do?
Yeah, now sitting at 5-7-2, it is a little bit frustrating from where they were at a year ago. But when you talk about the developmental scheme and what they need to do and where they need to go, it's about getting these handful of players ready for the next level. I think when you look at a Hassan Endom and some of these other pieces that they have out there, Junior Flemings and other, it's more about some of those individual performances. I thought Flemings, Bezecourt, as well as Volo had good, solid matches. Those are some positive takeaways from this evening.
And what a moment for those 2 players we just saw. Adam and David Najem taking that picture together as they play against each other professionally for the first time. July 1st, New York Red Bulls 2 will be back here at MSU Soccer Park hosting St. Louis FC. For Christian Dyer, myself, David Goss, Mike Demmel, Rich Kaufman, everyone else here at New York Red Bulls. Thanks so much for watching, and have a good night.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent from the United Soccer League.